This is Irontrader. This is the last call of the day and of the week. So we're going to take a look here at Bitcoin, at Ethereum, the ETF, ETHU, and we'll take a look here at gold and silver and crude oil, natural gas, and we'll take a look at the indexes, which are pretty much all red right now. At the end of the video, the support and resistance levels are posted for crude and natural gas, along with the U.S. Baker Hughes rig count. This video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation by selling stock, not ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Okay, here we have Bitcoin. It was a really good week of trading situation. I didn't trade anything on Bitcoin on the short side. I'm just trading it alongside with BITX. Really works very, very well. And IBIT, which is just a single one-on-one kind of a situation. So both of those ETFs work very, very nicely. Now you can see here how we had this. Look at old Sticky up here. Put a big topping tail in here. We looked like we were rallying up pretty nice. Got as high as 113.810, which we're looking for the top of that candle. 113.540 got just above that, but you notice that it couldn't hold it. Now what we're looking for at the end of the day, we're looking at the close above this 111.400 at 8 days is going to be very, very key. If we lose that, we're going to come down to the bottom 110.480 level. Come to yesterday's low 109.720 level. And then we can come down to the bottom there, 108.845, and then we have 108.20, and then we're going to be looking here for this 100-day at 108.107, and then we have support just underneath that at that 107.790. Now we also want to watch that 21-day on the weekly chart, 108.242. That's going to be very, very critical. We need to have and hold that by the end of today. That would be very, very nicely. Now you can see here last week we came down, we held it. So far we're holding it, so that is going to be very, very key on a closing basis, that 108.242. Now, upside here, well, again, we got this sideways action situation going here, but we still have a downtrending chart, okay? So what we really want to watch here is that 8-day. That's going to be very, very critical on a closing basis. We want to get above that 111.397 level. Then what we do is we come to the top of that candle. We look at 112.410. We'll come up to yesterday's high, 112.840 level. Then we have 113.215. We have 113.540. And then we have that today's high of that 113.810 level. Now, above that, what we have here is we got this 50-day sitting at 114.825 and that 21-day at 114.789. So these two here are going to be very, very critical. Now, you can see where that 21-day now crossed over that 50-day. That's not good. That's going to provide very, very strong resistance. Now, if we can get above all that, well, we got candles up here, 117.315. We got a candle there, 117.640. Then we just work this way up, 118.350. We have 119.810. These are all your resistance levels, 127.55. Then we always look to the left, 121.255 level. Then we come up top of there, 123.615. And then we can go 123.755, and then there's your big retest, 125.200. But right now we have a downtrending action situation, so we really have to just really watch that 8-day. That's going to be very, very key. And then we can get above that 21-day and that 50-day. We can take this bad boy higher. Now we're going to come down lower. Now again, just watch today's low, and more important, just watch yesterday's low. That's going to be key, that 109.720. If not, you can come right down to the old 100-day here, very simply. Now, negative divergence we had, but now we got a sideways action 45. That's not overbought or oversold. The green is below your red. We got to see how this is all going to shake out here. You know what I'm saying? Right here, on a weekly basis, we're trying to rally back up. But you notice this here. See how that green crossed over your red? That shows momentum there to the downside. So this is not going to be easy. See how we had that topping tail? See, we had the topping tail. Once you get those, that's going to be a little bit of effort here to get it all above that. However, we're trading this bottom 108.238, and we're going to be trading that 8-day at 115.241. So we got a little pinball action here. But you can see how the 8-day crossed over, is closing over, I should say, is rolling over. So we got to get it back above there in order to take this higher. Eventually, I think Bitcoin is going to go higher, much, much higher. But right now, we just have a trading action. You got to be very, very careful this time of the year. Now, we had a really good rally to start the day. At a jobs number, they only created 22,000 jobs. They're expecting 72,000, something on that order. So they're saying, oh, Fed is going to cut. You know, Fed's going to cut. Fed's going to cut. But, you know, realistically, you just have to look at it. If the Fed does start cutting, that's really not, that tells you a lot more about the economy than just say, I want lower mortgage rates. Okay, so always remember, look into the information, but get details into the information. That's the key. Anything that'll give you that edge in trading. Okay, let's take a look here at that Ethereum. Here we have that Ethereum. This is the ETF for the long side. Okay, this is a two-time leverage fund, so this gives you a little bit of juice. Now you can see here we had a nice good rally up here, but then it couldn't hold it, made a lower low kind of a situation. So let's look at the downside here first. You're watching today's low, 139.44. That's going to be key. Then we're going to come to the bottom of this candle right there at 136.91. That's going to be your next support level. Then what we're going to do is we can come right there to the top of that candle. That's at 127.69. Then we have this gap and fill. So you look at the bottom of there is 127.19. There's your gap. And then here's your fill right there at 119.44. Now we just look at the bottom of this candle. I mean, at the top of the candle is 125.62. Sorry about that. And the bottom is 119.44. There's your gap, and there's your other fill at that 114.44 again. So on bottom, that candle is 127.19, 125.62. Gap, fill. Then we have a gap fill, but we have this 50-day sitting right here at that 117.41 level. Okay, now this chart here is not looking very good. We had negative divergence, kind of a little hard to see, but we'd have a high, we had a lower high, but we have a high, we have a higher high. Negative divergence, and now you're coming on down. Now, 50 is not nowhere near oversold, and your green is over your red, shows momentum to the downside. But remember, we had this double top situation, so always pay attention to that. Just because you got one big green ass candle, that doesn't mean nothing. Okay, you got a double top, it could not, take it up higher. And look at the next day, and then now she just kind of sideways action. Now on the upside, you really have to get back above that 8-day 151.69 and that 21-day 154. Now you can see how that 8-day crossed over, and that's going to provide very, very strong resistance. So just watch that 8-day, and then watch that 21-day. We get above that, we come to the top of that candle at that 156.68 level. Then we can come to the bottom there. We're looking at 171.40, top one. Bottom in there at 161.80. Sorry about that. And then we come up to the top at 167.54, and then we have 171.40, and then we come up top there 174.97, and just work yourself all the way up to that 188 level. But again, that 8-day, 21-day, strong resistance level. Now we look at the weekly chart. Well, so far we're holding an 8-day, and that's always good. That 137.05. You can see it came just about pretty much all the way and down. This is why you trade the charts. But if you lose that, you can come right towards that 50-day, that 21-day very, very easily. Okay. Now you got to a little bit of overbought condition. Now she's coming right on down again. Your green is still over your red, so it does show good momentum. But right now here, this thing, it just can't hold it. Okay. So now we just have this sideways action. So it's going to take some kind of a catalyst to blast us through. So upside, watch the 8-day, watch that 21-day. Downside, watch today's low. Very, very key. Okay. At that 139.44, we lose that. You're going to come right here. 136.91. Then we have to the left of the chart, the gap, the fill, the gap, the fill, and then we have that 50 SMA. Okay, let's take a look here now at gold and silver. Here we have gold, here we have silver. Okay, let's see what we got going here. Now, again, we had a really nice, good trade, again, in the gold and the silver today. Okay, now this morning didn't look like much. Okay, we got outside that price channel, and then it came right back in. Okay, so but again, when you look at the candle, you have a bottoming tail, we had a sideways action, and we have an overbought condition. And your green is flying right on up here. But that being said, here we go. Okay, so what we're watching was this price channel at that 36.40 level. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. So when we were down this level, I said once we crack above that 35.34, we're going to come right on here. We're going to be looking for that 35.50, 3600. And then we're going to look at that 36.20 level. So when you look at this candle right here, you say, yeah, okay, well that got up all the way 36.40. Yeah, but look at where it closed at 36.19. That's the key. Then we went sideways action. Now we're rallying up. So it looks like when this market is selling off, I always use gold and silver as a fear factor kind of a situation. And, you just ask yourself again here, if the economy is going to be slumping over and you're going to do this and you have to cut rates, that's really never good. That's not like a positive sign. It might be for stocks in the short term, but again, that's not really a positive sign. If you got to cut rates, that tells you the economy is not going good. Okay, so always remember that. Always look deeper into the situation. So by today, we want to make sure that we close about that 36.40. We got as high as 36.555. Your next target you're going to run up to is going to be 3700. Just that easy. Okay, nice trade in that GLD. I have no position. I'm in and I'm out and I'm done. Okay. So on the downside here, what you really want to watch is, we just want to watch this level right here. Okay, so you look at the top of that candle, that 36.02 level. Okay, right there. Just look at 3600. That'd be key. Then we go to yesterday's low there, 35.73 level. Then we can come all the way down here to the top of that candle, 35.34, which lines up pretty nice here 35.44, which is your 8 SMA. Now, very, very key. We start losing that. Well, we come to the top. You're looking at 35.18. We go to the bottom, 35.06 level, and then we just follow it right on bottom, 34.78. Look to the bottom there, 34.63, and then we have your 21-day, 34.57. 50-day, and then we have your Hondo sitting right here. But right now, you got a very, very bullish chart, and it looks like it just wants to go higher. Now, just because you're overbought doesn't mean you can't stay overbought, but always look to the past, okay? So it got to an overbought condition, and eventually, boy, she came right on down. Another overbought condition eventually, and then she came right on down. So just be a little bit careful up here. So you just want to, I just trade this. I'm not really what you call a big time gold trader, but I do trade the GLD. Like today was a really good trade. I was just looking for something. I didn't want to go there buy at the highs this morning. That don't make no sense. But gold came down, and all of a sudden it just started rallying up here. So if you want to trade this, I show you the daily charts, but really when I trade it, I use like a tick chart, a 1, a 5, and a 15-minute chart, and then sometimes an hourly and a 4-hour chart. But most of the time, it's just that tick 1 and 5 minute is how I make a decision if I want to get into it. Now, silver, well, this was actually a pretty decent trade. Came right on up here. But again, look at it. We have the topping tail in silver. Okay, so you made a high today of 42.10. Okay, so what we're looking for is that 42 mark. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So when we're down this level here, I said, man, if you crack a back above that 39.91, you could go 40, 42, 45, and work your way to 50. We came right on up here, got this high of 41.995. This candle made a higher high at 42.29, but you notice that it closed at 41.81. This 42 level is going to be very, very strong resistance. Okay, that's just a fact. Now on the downside, you want to watch today's low, 41.16. Yesterday we had 41.06, and then we're going to start running right into that 40.58 level. Then we come over top of this candle here. You're looking at 39.91. We have 39.57, and you work your way right down to the 21-day. And then maybe even down to the 50 SMA. We got to an overbought situation. Now we're trying to go sideways action. Still very, very strong. Don't get me wrong, but the topping tail, just be a little bit careful with that. And then we have the MACD, so just rolling up here. Very, very nice here, but you know, we're at the top of the situation like here. We're not at that bottom. Okay, that's the thing, and that's why I always kind of look for. I just look for signals that gives me some kind of an edge in the trading kind of sense. And then again, it isn't just one signal. Stuff has to line up. Either like a negative divergence, you know, you have a bullish cross, something on that order that says that, hey, you know, this is going to be going higher. Okay, let's take a look here now at crude oil and natural gas. Here we have crude oil. I'm short with the SCO. Okay. Simple reason, couldn't get through that 50. Okay, came right on down. We had an inside day. Next day, we made that lower low. And look what happened today. Went right into that 21-day. Could not hold it. And now look where we're coming all the way down. Now, today we made this low of 61.45. If you look at the price channel, what we're looking for, 61.45. Okay, wonder how that works out. Hey, see, this is why you trade the charts. So that's where we're looking at 61.45. Now, if we lose this key 61.45 level, then what we're going to be doing is you come right down to the bottom of the candle. Your next support level is 61.06. Okay, then we'll come down there. You're looking at 60.55, and then we have this 59.74. Now, don't worry about this at the end of the video. Everything is posted there for you. All you can do is write it down, and those are your key support levels. Now, we start losing this area. Okay, we can come right down to this area next. Okay, this would be very easy. That's 57.74 level. We'll come down to the bottom there at 57.03, 56.39, 55.30, and then we come all the way down to this 55.12 level. Okay, very, very easy. The key is you have to close, just because we went to it, we have to close below that 61.45. I believe that crude eventually here by the end of the year will be back down in the 50s. Very easy. Now, OPEC's got their meeting. They're going to make a decision here by Sunday on what they're going to be doing. I think they're going to recognize that they're really, really flooding the market, but I don't think they really give a shit. I just think that they just want to. Saudi Arabia is the one who's kind of leading the charge, where they said we just want to get rid of all that. The volunteer cuts, that's all gone. All that easing is gone. Just pretty much just flood the market kind of a situation. So let's just see how that all shakes out. Now, you're sitting at 61.92 level. Let me just big that up there for you a little bit. Okay, so now we have to just do the opposite in reverse. Okay, so now we're looking at the resistance is going to be 62.52. Okay, then we go to yesterday's 62.72. Okay, then we'd be running right into this 63.51. There's your 21-day. There's your 8-day 63.77. There's your 100-day 64.39. There's your 50-day. And there's your 200-day. Now the price now is below all your simple moving averages. That's not good. Okay. However, it did hold right now so far 61.45. So we got to see Sunday night exactly how that opens. And then if it goes, we're going to be trading against this candle right here. Okay. That's 61.45 on the bottom, 63.49 on the top. Okay. So that's what we're watching. And that's what we're going to be trading against. Now, you're looking at here at 40. That's not overbought, oversold. That can go way, way down here. Same way with the MACD. You got this crossover here now, and this is not looking very good. See how we're not at the bottom here. We're not at the bottom. Okay, we got a long way to go. And I just say eventually I think you're going to be down in the 50s. Now, hurricane season really isn't adding up to be, it really isn't added up to be dick here so far. Okay, because what it is that hurricane has to come into that Gulf area, shut down the ports, shut down rigs. That affects crude oil, natural gas, gasoline, the whole nine. But right now, the hurricanes are staying to the outside of the whole situation. You're not getting into those platforms. Okay, so right now, what I'd be doing is just watch that 61.45. Very, very critical on the closing basis. But we have a descending situation: high, lower high, and lower lows. Not good. Watch that 61.45. We lose it. Your next big target is going to be right there at that 59.74. All right, natty gas. Really good trading in this natural gas. I traded UNG today. Now, this had a really good back and forth action. There wasn't really a whole lot. It got as low as 12.89 and got as high as 13.24. But I scalped it twice today. And on Fridays, I cut my shares down. I usually trade 5,000 shares. But today, I just cut that down to 2,500. So I was just scalping it, back and forth kind of a situation. On crude oil, I'm short. You got the SCO going, and that's where I'm going to be staying here for right now until I can see what's going to happen. We lose that 61.45 on a closing basis, then I'll add to the short because I know we're going to be coming down here next, okay, and even lower kind of a situation. So that's where I stand on that. Now on natural gas here, I'm just trading it. Okay, now look where this went. Okay, we made this high 3.13. What we're watching is that 50-day. Like I said this morning, what is the 50-day? 3.13. Where did it go? Right in there. Okay, so couldn't get above. Couldn't get above. Okay, so now we have all these topping situations. So again, for me, this is just a trading situation right now. This is not a buy and hold until you can close above that 50-day. Then that 50-day that would break that downtrend. Then we could aim for that 200-day. 100-day and that 200-day action. Now on the downside, we're watching yesterday's low. That's going to be key 302, and then we can come down here to this 296, which lines up right here at that 297 at 8-day. Very, very key level. Okay, but now the 8-day crossed over. Okay, so that crossed over. That's always good. Long as it holds at 8-day, we're good. If not, we're going to come right down to that 21-day at 2.89. We lose that. You come there at 286 level. Then we come down here at 277. There's your gap. 260, 275, 74 is your fill. And we come to the bottom, 265, and then your retest at 262. But right now, we just have this uptrend trading. Very, very good trading in the old natural gas. Now, you're sitting at 53. That could go either way. The green is over your red, but notice how we're way on the bottom here. Again, this 50 days everything, okay? Absolutely everything. You have to get above it. If you can't get above it, boom, she's going to come down. Now, we had this 3 candles here. So just always look, what do we have here? Okay, 3 candles. What do we got going there? 3 candles. If you can't get through that 50-day, she's going to come down. Hopefully that 8-day, 21-day is going to hold. All right, let's take a look here now at the indexes. Here we have the indexes. The old Dow. Okay, then we have the old S&Ps, and we have the NASDAQ. Okay, now some of the NASDAQ stocks are doing pretty good. Tesla's doing a pretty good, Jared, today. It's up $11. I made a nice, good trade in Tesla. I'm all out of the position, and I'm done with Tesla. Now, remember, Tesla, if you watch my midday trading, Tesla, they offered Elon Musk $1 trillion. $1 trillion over the next 10 years, okay, if he can make all these goals. But if you look at these goals, these are astronomical. And realistically, I don't know if they really care about him making these goals or paying him. You know what I mean? I think this is all bullshit. However, what they're trying to do is lure Elon Musk to focus on that Tesla, the self-driving situation. There's robotics, okay, and the Tesla car. They're trying to get him back focused instead of veering off on all these little projects. Get him back focused into the situation. So we're going to put this big carrot in front of you, and then we'll see if he can come back. So again, keep your eye on Tesla, okay, because he might just come back into the fold. And then I say it's a really, really great trading stock. I've been trading this thing for a long time now. It's a really, really good trading. You can go TSLA on a long, TSLS on a short, Really, really good trading kind of a situation. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we got to look at on the old Tesla. A lot of the stocks there, Meta's up there today, but Netflix is down. Everything was up really, really good this morning, and then all of a sudden it just turned a red. So this is why I say this is a trader's market. Okay, now, okay, made a new high today. Okay, 45,770. Previous high 45,757. Okay, but again, you couldn't hold it. So what you got there is the double top again. Okay, now upside, watch that 8-day. You got to get back above that. If we do, we watch yesterday's high, 45,632. Then we have that retest of today's high, 45,770. Okay. Downside, we obviously want to watch today's low, 45,211. But really, this is the key, is that 21-day. You need to hold this like we had in the past. If you don't, you can hit that 50 SMA here. And then we can come down to the price channel. You can come all the way down to the bottom there, or you can come down to the 200 and the 100 SMA here. Still got negative divergence going here on the old on the chart situation. So let's just see how this shakes out. But this is basically a trader's market. Now, look at here. New high, 65.32. Wow, look at there. A lot of idiots. I shouldn't say idiots. I should say a lot of traders with this FOMO. Oh, I'm getting in. I'm getting in. No, 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 no. When you see that rallying up here, that's the time you sell into that. This is a trader's market. Traders market. Okay, don't fall for all that nonsense. Okay, so on the upside here, you got to go and got to close above that 65.08. Not just pop above it. You got to close above it. Then we can go test that 65.32 and head to 6,700. We'll see how that shakes out. But right here, you got to watch that 64.68. It's your 8-day, your 21-day. We lose that. We got the 8-day down here, and we got a nice big retest all the way down at that 62.12. We have a gap fill, 100-day, 200-day. A lot of support here if this 21-day in this uptrending situation is lost. All right? Now, NASDAQ, another thing, big pop up here. Okay, we were looking for 21,803, popped right up, 21,878. Notice that it couldn't hold it, came all the way back. But now we're holding that 8-day. See, look at that. See, this is why you trade the charts. Okay, so on the downside, watch 21,554, watch that 21,495. We lose that, we have a gap right there. Okay, you watch that right there, 21,370. We look at the high, the fill, 21,293. Then we have your 50 SMA here. Then we have this bottom of this candle at that 2560. Then we have your gap fill, 100-day, 200-day. But again, traders market, I know I say this every day. I'm starting to bore myself with it. But again, that's what this is. This is a trader's market, okay? When we had these overbought, oversold conditions. See this oversold conditions, okay? Down here, that was your buy and hold, okay? Buy and hold, buy and hold, okay? But now we're at this top. This is just trader's market, and there's a pile of cash to make. I'm making trades every day, just killing it. Okay, but trading, put the money in your pocket. I don't care if I buy the bottom. I don't care if I sell the top. All I'm looking for is that meat in the middle. That's the key. Is consistent money. Start on Monday. By the time you get to Friday, boom, big pile of cash sitting there. Okay, but remember, traders market. But always ask yourself here. Okay, if the jobs number was bad, okay, and the Fed is going to be starting cutting, and they're getting into a cutting cycle. Why are you cutting? Okay, if everything is so great, why are you cutting interest rates? Okay, ask yourself that. Okay, and that can put you into a recession. Okay, so just be very, very careful out there here. Okay, so just trade this market until it's not time to trade right, especially in this time frame. End of August, okay, first week or so of October. That's the key, especially this September month. Just trade this. All right, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here Sunday night, and we'll do it all over again. Trade what's in front of you, not what you want.